People have settled for just using people. Hear this. Hear what I'm about to tell you in this video. People have literally settled for using people. And it's destroying themselves. And it's so funny because there's so many authentic people out there when you really take the time to quiet your mind and quiet your spirit and just connect with God. You don't have to use anybody. That's just the truth. People feel like they have to use people because we go through so many different struggles every day. We allow the circumstance of the world, the circumstance of the government, the circumstance that we're going through to govern the way that we make decisions, the way that we gain, and the way that we obtain the things that we need to survive every day. When you really think about it, there's way more than enough. There's so much open field when you're driving or you're taking a train, or you see just open land. And that's just God just reminding us that there's more than enough for everybody. There's more than enough space to build a house. But it's just you got different so-called kings of today's time, governors and leaders, political leaders or whatever, just running this country. And there's just people at the top, right? Unfortunately, they've convinced people that we have to just have what they're giving us technically. Or this has to be the rich people that has more, and then they have to be poor people who just struggle to get it because they just don't believe that they can get it. And that's just what it is nowadays, and I just feel like it's a cycle. And it's like once you start to really realize and break out of that cycle, you begin to understand that there's more than enough. Even if you don't have anything, you can work your way up. You just have to change your mindset. You have to trust in who God created you to be. God put us here. There's times that some people have nothing at all, but somehow God keeps them alive. God gives them an opportunity. But you have to use all your resources, right? But back to what I was saying, not to go off topic too much. I just wanted to kind of give a little motivation on coming from nothing to something, because it's definitely possible, right? Some of us struggle. Some of us are in predicaments in the world that is just ridiculous, right? That we can't even imagine getting out of. But I believe when you trust in God, when you give your best, every day, that God will give you an opportunity, right? If you choose to follow his ways, if you choose to follow his word. And with that being said, it's so funny, right? It is how people just use people. People will literally choose to use people than to wait for an authentic individual to be all that they need. And people will use people for years. Think about how much time we really got. We got about 75 years to 100 years to be alive, right? If we're lucky, right? With that being said, you got people that will use people. Throughout a whole year, they'll use hundreds of people or whatever. Tens of people, thousands of people, whichever they want to use for different things. Finances, lust, whatever. Tool, space, whatever the case is. And they're not realizing that if you really thought about the time that you put into just appreciating and having less, you'll start to realize that one person could probably help you with everything you need in certain spaces for you in particularly, authentically. There's some people out here that they're never satisfied, and it is what it is. It's like they say the eyes of a man is never satisfied. And I believe it's true, but you got to understand something. Finding out about yourself and understanding to learn yourself is so important in today's time, chosen ones. You need to figure out what's going to be able to please you, because you don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over again. You're using people. What you're doing over time is taking away from yourself. Because you reap what you sow. So one thing you got to understand is what you keep sowing out there in the world. If people out here keep doing wrong, this is what they're gonna get back, right? If you're using people all day, eventually you're gonna be used. But you got to realize, it's one thing to use a person, it's another thing to utilize. You know what I mean? It's a difference, and it's another thing to be patient for what's best for you, to what is reciprocated. This world is about give and take. Don't let the enemy confuse you because you see everybody else using people to the point that they're not even making a decision no more. They're just taking whatever comes to them that's the best at the moment. And this is what's coming down to it. It's like nobody's actually making a decision no more. They get so tired that they just want what they need, or they want what they want when they want it, to the point that they don't even give themselves the time to actually make a decision. By the time the best thing comes their way, they done messed it up. It done walked right by them. They done missed out on it. They don't even appreciate it. They're too busy comparing everybody on social media. They're too busy comparing everything they see in their face. Now, social media even made it worse. Because now you got these same people trying to go for one person that got everything, or living a certain lifestyle that they might not even want to live if they was actually in that person's shoes. And it's unfortunate. And this all stems from people using people. It stems from people thinking that they could get an instant gratification out of just getting what they want when they want it, just because of how they feel today. I'm going to tell you something I've learned over my life. Using people and going over how you feel will destroy your life. It will destroy so much about you. You can't use somebody. When you use somebody, what happens is you begin to make less of yourself. You're taken away from yourself because you're taken away from your time. Your time of being able to focus and actually make a decision for you to even recognize what's good for you. The more you use people, the more you lose the focus on who you really are. Because your focus now is just using the person that just has what you need when you need it, to the point that when you find the person that is everything that you need, you don't even know how that person looks, because you're so used to looking for just what you can use and get today. Hear this. And I can explain that in so many different scenarios. Like, you got people out here who use their life all day to just get a little something off somebody, make some money. You got people out here that will work jobs that doesn't fulfill them. And they never do anything to be better, to change. They would never do anything to actually follow their heart, or even attempt to do something to accomplish a dream, or even use their gifts. Some people are so gifted and talented, but they'll throw their gifts away. They'll throw their talents away. They'll give it all up because they just want the money today. Not even realizing that if they actually took time and put all that time and energy into their gifts, that they could actually attract the success that they're looking for financially through their gifts. And they would also find a peace of mind within themselves. Peace is so much important. Less stress on their life, because at least they're getting closer towards the things that they love, things that they appreciate. And it's the same thing in relationships today. Hear this. Pay attention to what I'm about to say. People will date anybody that look the best at the moment. They'll sleep with them. They'll fornicate when you're supposed to be waiting into marriage to fornicate. That's no other topic. But they'll fornicate with anybody just because of how they're feeling today. And they wasn't always like that. This is what they was taught by the world. And then you start to realize, okay, maybe naturally they might get a little hormones or whatever the case is, but truthfully, you're really taught by the world, because there was a time period where people didn't just fornicate so fast. So this is why they will get with somebody they just met, fornicate with them in less than a few days, and then be questioning why is it that they're going through the struggles that they're going through in their relationships, but they just met a person and they're already having intimacy. Nobody gets to know nobody no more. Nobody gets to make a decision no more. They're just taking the choices they have within a small amount of time. Hear this. This is what happens when you don't pay attention to the people that's being used out here, because you'll end up becoming the same user. Now you're just out here mimicking other people, because you see a lot of people living this lifestyle, but you're not realizing that this is what the devil wants. The devil wants you to use people, to take advantage of people, to be a part of his kingdom. This is why following Christ and picking up your cross and repenting from your sins is so important. So you don't be a user. So you can pay attention to authenticity. So you can appreciate the things that God has for your individual life as well. It's so important. How can you know what's best for you if you don't take time to actually understand the details of what works for you. You don't allow God to show that to you. You don't allow God to reveal to you things about you. Because when you look around, we're all different. Yes, some of us, we got a lot of similar features. Yes, we are blessed with our 5 senses, 6 senses, etc. Right? But you got to understand, we all got different gifts. Some people are stronger, weaker in different areas for a reason. God gave 5 talents, 3 talents, 1 talent. You know what I mean? This is a parable that Christ spoke about in the scriptures. And when you don't use your gifts, when you don't use your talents, you don't use the pounds that God has given you, what happens is God will take that and he will give it to somebody else. Hear what I'm telling you. Now you're wondering why you feeling down, you're feeling depressed. You know why? Because you've allowed the enemy to use you. And now you're using other people to get a temporary gain that's not even worth it. It's not even lasting. Because you allowed the enemy to catch you with the delusion, with the reprobated mindset, to make you believe that it's okay to use people. And guess what? Now the enemy is using you and you can't even see it. Hear this. So to be spiritually inclined is to allow yourself to let go of feeling like you need something and allow God to provide everything that you need. Because all you got to do is follow Christ and everything will be added to you. This is what the scriptures teach us. So there's no need to take advantage of it and feel like you got to use people to get by, to make money, to this and that. Work for what you have. Put the time out to understand who you are so you can get the things that you need and you deserve. Because God will give it to you. What you put out will come back. Don't believe that just because somebody has something that they worked for and they deserve it. Some people have things because they use people to get it. They didn't get it genuinely. And now they're more empty inside. Hear this, they're empty inside. They have everything, but they have nobody with them because at the end of the day, they know that deep in their heart, they had to use and take advantage of people to be who they are, to be where they are. And now their whole personality is something given from the enemy, opposed to your personality being from God, which is love, which is truth, which is transparency, which is freedom, which is being able to make decisions, which is growing and letting go, forgiving yourself and forgiving others is so important in 2025 and every day, right? So hopefully this resonate. Like I said, don't let the enemy use you. You don't got to use nobody, and allow God to bring authenticity. Allow God to bring value. Allow God to give you detail, uniqueness into everything that you receive into your life, to all the blessings that God want to give to your life. You want to know that it's authentically from God, authentically made for you in your life. And you will know once you change what's going on inside of you, once you make them decisions to be authentic, once you make them decisions to take time for yourself, from God, to change what's going on inside. You look in that mirror and you make a change like MJ told us. You got to make a change if you want to see a change in your life. If you want to see God change your life, you got to change what's going on inside. So hopefully this resonates. JussRighteousWaterFlows, guys. I got to go. Once again, don't let them users use you. Don't become a user, but work for everything you have so that it can be reciprocated right back into your life, right? So I got to go, y'all. Peace and love.